Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to the Daily Drop-In Morning Show where the Teach Better team is live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have a brand new guest on this bright and early Tuesday morning. We are kicking off some great conversation. We have our theme that we're going to dive into this week. And of course, we have some good news articles and some holidays to celebrate with you. Please go fill up your coffee. Let's get ready for an epic Tuesday. And as a reminder, if you're an educational leader, we do have our mastermind happening this morning, both in our AM session and our PM session. So it is a full day ahead. Let's get this started. Good morning, everyone. We are live for the Daily Drop-In Morning Show. Marie is with us, and you are an ambassador. You are active in so many different ways in our Teach Better community. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Hey everyone, it is Marie McCumber. I am a Teach Better ambassador. I am also a Teach Better blogger. I also guys, it's early. It's really early, and I'm on spring break, so so I woke up earlier than I would have. I'm so sorry, and I hear my son's alarm going off upstairs also, like just going off. So I work at the Ohio State School for the Blind. I'm an elementary teacher. I teach fifth grade. And something else that I do is I actually do a lot of presenting that I've never really talked about before, actually, that I do a lot of presenting on the importance of teaching STEM skills to students with disabilities. So that's a little bit about me.
I love this topic. I know our community is going to really learn so much from your expertise because you have such an interesting background in education. It's definitely a niche that so many of us will be better educators if we learn more about. We have had you on the Daily Drop-In Morning Show kind of because you were live with me building a grid when we did a Build a Grid live series in December. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
It was awesome, actually. I learned so much, and something I started doing, something I started incorporating as I'm going now is I used to sit and try to build my grids like based off the past stuff I was doing in my classroom. But now I've really taken that and I have all these ready grids is what I call them, open. And so as I'm working through my units right now, I'm like, oh, I'm doing that. And I put it in my grid or I put a notes or something like that. And so I'm getting a lot better at building as I go. And it was because that I got that like immediate feedback, doing it like in real time with somebody else. And it was awesome. I really loved that experience, actually.
Oh, it's so good. If any of you want to see the Build a Grid live series, we not only recorded that live for all of you during Daily Drop-In Morning Show 1 week over winter break, but it is saved as a free course in our Teach Better Academy. So if you head over to teachbetteracademy.com, you can see the Build a Grid series. Chad Ostrowski, the CEO of the Teach Better team and creator of the Grid Method, was live for 3 days of that week, and I was able to be live with two days of that week, and we each morning built a grid, all different types of grids, different types of educators, different grade levels, different subjects. It's a really good professional development opportunity if you want to go tune into all those experiences. That was one of multiple times we've been able to do that. But Marie, I was so glad that you were able to be part of this past December's experience doing that. As you are reflecting on your time, I know that you have been, we're going to dive into so much that you've been involved in, but one of the things that you've chosen to do is be a Teach Better team ambassador. And obviously you're very active in some of those sub communities within the Teach Better team, like the ambassador program, like our blogger community and everything else. How's that experience been for you?
It's been this is gonna sound corny, I think, but it's been like life changing for me as an educator. It has it just has changed so much of what I do. And not that it's so hard to put into words sometimes, because when I talk about the Teach Better team and then I talk about the Teach Better ambassador program with other people, they almost don't get it sometimes because, and this is something I'm always talking about with the Teach Better team, Teach Better ambassador, they're kind of like, well, what's in it for them? And I'm like, for people to be better, like to make me better, to make the community better for kids. And I think we live in such a cynical society, and teacher attitudes right now are so cynical and a little burnt out that when I'm like, you got to check this out, and somebody's like, I don't need one more thing. I don't need one more thing to check out or do. But it's been really great. And the thing is, I have this community of people that I can go to, and it's almost instantaneously. I can float a question out there, or float a situation out there. And I have all these people with all these different backgrounds, experiences, that just can offer me their perspective. And if they don't have a perspective on it, they can offer support and be like, that sounds really hard, or that's really interesting. I want to think about that more. So it's been great. It's helped me. I always used to say, I was a multiple disabilities teacher for 10 years. And I always used to say special education is almost like an island off the main country of general education land. When you're a multiple disabilities teacher, it's almost like you're a little tiny island off the bigger island. I felt very alone in what I did, especially because I was a little bit radical and just being like pushing kids for as hard as they would go, as much as I could get them to. And finding this community has helped me feel not so alone, but also it's helped me think more globally in the educational sense that, no, I'm not alone. No, there's all these other people out there. And all these other people want to support us, whereas educators, we want to support each other. We do want to help each other, but sometimes we don't exactly know how to do it, or who needs help, or, who wants the help even. So
yeah, for those of you who are interested in learning more about the Teach Better Ambassador program, it's an incredible community that, we don't have a lot of public knowledge of. Once you're in, it totally surrounds you. Once you apply and be accepted, it's an incredible program. Shout out to Megan and Andrea on the Teach Better team that have completely constructed and maintained that incredible program. We will have applications opening this summer, though. So if any of you are interested in joining that community, definitely keep your eyes out around May and June. There might be some opportunities for you to explore that. Maria, I know that we're going to get into so much dialogue today about your background and your expertise in education, but specifically one more question about the ambassador program. Why did you apply? What inspired you? Why were you somebody who said, hey, I'm gonna pursue this program, even with, the little knowledge that's out there about the program? And I know you probably had other connections to the community, but what caused you to want to fill out that application?
So for me, special education, students, individuals with disabilities, it's so important to me. And many times, well, I would even say most of the time, they don't have a voice. They don't have a voice in so many things about things that affect them in their life, in their education, in their living. And I feel it's my need because I have this voice. It's my I almost take it on as kind of my cause, as to help them elevate their own voices. And so it was really, when I applied for the ambassador program, my thinking was I could use this to help amplify these voices, especially in the disability communities that are really, really low incidence. We talk a lot in education, we talk a lot about students with behavior disabilities, mental health issues, autism, specific learning disabilities, which is absolutely important. But those are kind of your major ones. But our low incidence ones, our students who are paralyzed and nonverbal, our students with visual impairments, our students who are deaf and hard of hearing, they don't have the voice that even the bigger disability community might have. And so my whole thinking was I could use this to help amplify the voices of the people, the individuals that I care so much about.
As you guys are exploring different ways to get involved in the Teach Better community, the Ambassador Program is definitely a fun way to build family members, to get some mentorship, to have access to exclusive professional development, exclusive get-togethers. There's a lot of discount abilities that whether you're talking about the conference or professional development, the Teach Better team, a lot of different perks to being an ambassador. So obviously that program has not yet officially been announced as an open opportunity for us yet this year, but definitely keep your eyes out. It's always fun to be able to talk shop about the incredible program that Megan and Andrea have sustained over the last few years. As we get into our discussion, Marie, we typically get to document our moment of gratitude using a free app that we love, and it's called Happy Feed. Happy Feed is a free app that many educators in our community have chosen to use to document their moment of gratitude. While there is a lot of different reasons why documenting a moment of gratitude is beneficial, something we really like is the ability to revisit these moments on the show and also later on at other Teach Better events like the Teach Better conference. So we are choosing every single day to document this moment of gratitude to fill this bank of incredible, memorable moments. So Marie, I'm going to throw it to you. I'm going to pull up my Happy Feed app. And if I was to ask you what you are grateful for this morning, what would you share?
I am my daughter's off camera over here pointing to herself. So I actually am. That's what I'm very grateful to have my children here with me. And just I'm very grateful for them. They're my favorite people.
So important for all of us to be so grateful for our children, our family members, the incredible people that allow us to be successful every single day by supporting the work that we do. I love it. It is Tuesday morning, March 29th. And while we have a lot in store for you, we will be kicking off the show with our brainstorm bank. So feel free to consider what questions you might have for our community, and we'll be right back. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 29th, and there is so much in store to celebrate, not only within our small conversation here on the Daily Drop-In Morning Show, but in so many different realms of our Teach Better community. As many of you are already aware, it is Tuesday morning, so we have our Administrator Mastermind this morning and this afternoon. So if you are an administrative leader, if you're in our school district supporting in any way, shape, or form, maybe you're a coach, a principal, an assistant principal, director, a superintendent, that is the spot for you. Feel free to come and share your ideas, share your resources. You can find out all the details about that incredible Tuesday program, that weekly program, over at teachbetter.com/mastermind. We also have a brand new course coming out tomorrow that we're going to continue to celebrate. You can see all the details over at teachbetteracademy.com. That is a book study on Joshua Stamper's brand new book that we love to celebrate, Aspire to Lead. So shout out to team member Joshua Stamper, who continues to elevate the work that he's doing to support so many different people in our community, and especially those who aspire to be a better leader within their organization. Marie, as you know, Brainstorm Bay is a daily segment that we love to do here on the Daily Drop-In, where we really just ask our communities if they need anything. Whether you're brainstorming an idea that has to do with a student, or brainstorming an idea that has to do with a colleague, we want to ensure that we are infusing a reminder every single day that nobody is teaching on an island. Like you referenced earlier, we all have the opportunity to collaborate and talk shop. And while Marie and I don't necessarily promise that we're going to have the right answer for you, we love to support that brainstorming and pushing you in the right direction to hopefully continuing to pursue the right answers. Our theme this week, Marie, has to do with language. And so I want to get your initial thoughts on that and continue to dive into all the work that you do. How do you see the language we choose to use impacting our outcomes that we hope to see in education? Any thoughts on that?
Oh, I think that's such an important question. I really believe in manifesting like what you want. And I think you can manifest either way. I think you can manifest good and I think you can manifest bad. And so much of that has to do with your language and how you think about things and how you approach situations. And so I think it's extremely important to take time and be mindful and reflectful about how you think, even the words that you think, like how do you think about it? How do you speak about it to yourself? How do you speak? Because I know a lot of times I might speak to myself very differently than I would speak to other people about it. And so those are my like quick thoughts. I could actually talk for a really long time about language and why it's so important.
Well, I'd love for you to expand on that because obviously on this bright and early Tuesday morning, as we're getting ready for the day, this concept of language impacting our outcomes is definitely something we want to focus on. I know that you have an expertise in so many different areas, but I assume that with the work that you do day in, day out, language has a dramatic effect on not only fostering relationships with the students that you're working with, but also fostering the learning environment that you're creating.
Yeah, so I would say the biggest and most simple thing that I really think about all the time is really enforcing this idea to my students that you can do this. So in my class, I teach at the School for the Blind. So everybody must have a visual impairment to even go to that school. Now, on top of that, over half the population has other things going on, other medical issues, educational disabilities, things like that. Even just poverty, cultural disadvantage, so many things are in these students' way. And a lot of them even start very young, just going, well, I can't. And it's because the world has told you you can't. And so it's something I talk about nearly every day, how you can. I talked earlier about how I do a lot of presenting on STEM skills for students with disabilities. Students with visual impairments, especially, it's not that they don't think they can, they're not even told, they're not even exposed to the idea that if you want to be an engineer, you can absolutely be an engineer. And so they kind of go, wait, really? And I just shared an article in my classroom about a month ago about a gentleman. He has a visual impairment. He's like an astrophysicist. He's working with NASA, like he's getting his doctorate, but just exposing them to these other people out in the world, be like, look, he's like you. And look what he's doing. And planting those seeds of, I can do that. And so my class at the beginning of the year usually turns from, well, I don't know what I want to do, to, I have a student who wants to be a nurse. I have a student who wants to be a doctor. I have a student who wants to go to college and he wants to be an astronaut really badly, so just thinking bigger than, well, I don't know. I don't think I can even go to college, to I could be this really cool thing that these other kids in my neighborhood even talk about doing that I didn't think I could before.
So as we're looking at language, it's kind of a open door to not only encouragement, but lending perspective in your classroom. It's obviously a way to communicate, like an element of hope or even combating ignorance in the classroom of what you feel like the community has given your students evidence of prior to them coming to your classroom.
And the other thing I do also, like, I try to do a lot of affirming, uplifting. You can. This is hard. One of the mottos in my classroom is hard work feels good. And we can do hard things. We talk about that too. But something else I do is I also give them what I call my real talk. And I said, okay, it's time for our real talk. Because the students also need to see the other side in the most gentle way I can sometimes, is that this world is not going to be fair to you. And you're going to have to learn to work through it. And this world is going to be hard for you. And, giving them that knowledge up front and giving them that knowledge, but then following it up with, but you can prove the world wrong and you can do whatever you want, no matter what somebody says. And so using language to help them realize, in our building, we accommodate to everyone's visual impairment. Our building is set up a certain way. Colors are used a certain way. They get extra services and things like that. The real world does not necessarily do that for you. And so helping them to understand that, outside of these walls, I'm here to set you up for as much success as you can so that when you go out, you will have more success. But you should know that the world is hard, and sometimes it feels like the world is working against you.
Yeah, no, I love that though. That inspiration, that encouragement, that motivation, that perspective to get out there and prove the world wrong. I love this. So powerful. Marie, I know you have so many different topics that you are passionate about, and I really appreciate your insight being able to share that with our community. We have had so many different discussions around not only how we can better support our students that are in our classrooms, but also how we can even improve the Teach Better content, the Teach Better team content over at teachbetter.com, how we can ensure that it is accessible and available for all of our community members. So I really appreciate this perspective. If you were to think about your soapbox topic, the topic that you're like, hey, if this is your first time meeting me and if I never engage with you again, this is what I want you to take away. This is the stuff I'm most passionate about. This is the words of encouragement or the challenging concepts I want you to consider. What would that soapbox topic be for you?
Assume competence, assume capability, and assume potential. Like, if I sum up everything that I think about, what I'm really passionate about, it's that what you see is not necessarily what you think you're going to get. And if you're going to make assumptions, make them in the best possible way. I think we are conditioned as a society to go the other way. And so, excuse me. So if you're going to make assumptions, do it in the best possible way. And that's really that is my mini. So that's the thing that'll get me hot, honestly. If we are talking and the word can't comes up, in any regards to, oh, well, they can't do that. A good example of this is my fiance is totally blind, but I never say he can't drive. I say he doesn't drive. If you give him the keys to the car, he'll drive it. But it's not that he can't drive, it's that he doesn't drive. And that's a big difference. The only thing he can't do is see. And that's a reality. But any other thing you think somebody with a disability can't do, you really got to be careful about that thinking. Our students, I think our students who are nonverbal get this the most, because we live in a very verbal world. And how do we well, how do they show what they know? And that was a fight I fought for a long time as a multiple disabilities teacher. And, just I would get into some very heated discussions with people as a very young teacher, saying, well, you're asking her to do this, but she can't speak. So let's find a different way for her to communicate, because it's not that she doesn't have things to say. She just doesn't have the physical capacity to do it. So how can we change this?
I love this perspective of can't versus these all these other variations that lend a very different perspective to the conversation. Mm-hmm. I always love giving our listeners here on the Daily Drop-In some tactical action steps, some challenges, so to speak. One of my favorite things, Marie, is being able to talk about something on the show, and then maybe it's 6 hours later or 24 hours later, even 48 hours later, I get direct messages on Twitter or, Instagram tags about an educator trying something, whether they kept a perspective in mind the whole day and then saw a different result than they expected, or maybe took a challenge upon themselves and saw a result that they were surprised or excited to celebrate. Something I wonder if we can encourage our community here is to make that mindset shift. Is what are you doing with students that maybe in your mind you're thinking immediately, oh, well, they can't XYZ. And instead, can we phrase that as, well, they don't do this one idea. Are there other alternatives? I'd love to have you maybe craft up a challenge for our community related to this concept. I think that's such an important perspective. And your comparison of driving is spot on. I feel like that is something that all of us can relate to in seeing the difference between can't and maybe don't.
Yeah. The very first step in kind of focusing this mindset in your classroom is thinking about, and this is actually like to circle back to the whole grid method thing. This is where the grid method really comes in such great play, because the very first thing you want to think about is, what do I actually want to know? Mm-hmm. What am I actually trying to get my student to communicate? Mm-hmm. And then looking at, all right, how can I use the methods that my student uses to communicate in order to do this? So a very simple basic example is, you think about when I was in kindergarten, we had all these worksheets where we would have to cut something out and glue it on a page, to show whatever, beginning sounds, rhyming words, whatever you want. Well, you take a student even with some minor physical difficulties, and you're asking them to cut, which is a very hard skill actually to do. And then you're asking them to visually match something, pictures, words, whatever. And then you're asking them to put it in a certain place, which is now visual processing as well as combining your motor control. So in your one activity, you're asking them to actually demonstrate at least 3, 4, 5 different skills away from what you actually want to know. Do I want to know, can this child rhyme? All right. Can this child rhyme? If I show them 2 pictures, can they rhyme? And so you just want to take it down. I had a student a couple years ago. She had cerebral palsy. She was quadriplegic. She had a little bit of head control. We did a lot of communication with her using her head or using her eyes. So if you take that activity, say the 2 pictures, right? You could just hold up 2 pictures, and if she can swing her head to the left, it's a no. If she can swing her head to a right, it's yes, right? So you hold up 2 pictures. Do these rhyme? No. Do these rhyme? Yes. And you've taken the skill that you want to see. Can this student rhyme 2 pictures together? And you've taken away all the physical part of it past, how can she communicate? And she can prove if those pictures rhyme. If you pulled up 5 and she gets 4 of them right, that's 80%. So, yeah, I would say yes, she is able to distinguish if pictures rhyme or not. And so,
Maria, I
yeah.
think there's so many different avenues for this, and I love that you provide so much experience with, regardless of what educators are listening right now, whether they're high school science teachers or elementary social studies teachers or middle school math teachers. There's so many different takeaways here. I would love to challenge our community to really think through those initial moments of learning with students. How are we evaluating? What are we evaluating? And what's the difference between can't and maybe doesn't or don't? And can those perspectives this morning maybe positively impact how we are presenting information to students, how we are engaging with students, and how we're evaluating, assessing, and providing feedback to our kiddos. I really, really appreciate this perspective. We are going to transition here into our good news for the day, Marie. We always love to celebrate some good holidays and some good news articles. So I'm excited to hear your perspectives on these things. We'll be right back. Good morning, everyone. As we are wrapping up our daily drop-in morning show, we have some good news for you. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we end our show with good news articles and some goofy holidays that we love to celebrate. Marie, are you up to celebrating this morning?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And then we got to get you in the classroom because you have a busy day ahead, I know. So we are going to make sure that we fly through these articles and good news stories and holidays. I will share, these are always fun to be able to talk through, whether it's a tidbit that you're able to go into your school building this morning and use as a conversation starter with a colleague, or maybe you're just looking to boost up your own energy for the day, something interesting that might spark some creativity in your own personal mind, or something that we are bringing to our students, depending on our age group and how we structure our classroom. Can this be something to continue to foster relationships with our kiddos? So lots and lots and lots of benefits here on the Daily Drop-In Morning Show of being able to bring good news and funny holidays to all of you every single morning. Marie, there's some goofy holidays today, one of which is that is an official day of mom and pop business owners. So celebrating our small businesses. What are your thoughts on that?
I love that one. I love this. Yeah, my daughter and I are going to go check out a sewing shop actually that we just found in our like little village downtown. We're actually going to go check that out this week, but I'm very like, yay, small business. My mom was a baker growing up and she baked out of our house. So, yeah, I'm all about supporting the mom and pop and the small business and local schools. Yeah.
Well, not only celebrating them, but today is also National Lemon Cake Day. So it sounds like maybe we should go find a mom and pop bakery, and we need to go get some lemon cake. I love lemon cake. That's my favorite flavor. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's also National Vietnam Veterans Day, so definitely something to be aware of, something that we can bring into our communities to celebrate. And it is World Piano Day. Marie, are you into music at all?
Yes. Yeah, actually we're going to a concert tonight. We're going to go see Colin Hay in Cincinnati. Yeah.
There you go. So celebrating music and also celebrating, hey, if any of you have pianos or have an opportunity to interact with a piano today, this would be a great opportunity to learn a skill and also celebrate that style of music. I love it. I love the piano. It's so nice. Do you have a favorite instrument, Marie?
So I grew up, I actually grew up playing the piano. I play the piano, I play the violin and the viola.
I love it. See,
such fact about me today. Yeah.
Such a good fun fact. I think that's such an incredible skill. I did take piano lessons. I remember almost nothing, which it just means I need to practice more. But I love the saxophone. Not playing it. I have no ability to play it, but to sit and listen to it is definitely a hobby for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We go to the I live in Columbus, so we go to the Columbus Jazz Orchestra. We love those concerts. Those are really great. So
fun.
Yeah.
Anything with music. I do want to send a little challenge for our viewers today. There's so many different things, Marie, that we've been able to add perspective in and add challenges in. Maybe a challenge today is to incorporate a little bit more music into your day. Maybe turn up the music a little bit louder, or turn on a song that has a little bit of energy, or really setting the tone for your learners. Let's choose to use music today. That's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We also have a good news article that I wanted to share with all of you. I thought this was so interesting, not only to be able to as a conversation starter with a colleague, but possibly even for our students as we continue to grow in our technology base here in the US and really just in all of our communities around the world. Shout out to John Deere, which is obviously a tractor company. They do so much in our farming communities. They have a plow that can now plow day and night because it is self-driving. This is all debuting in 2022. I know many of us have explored the opportunity for cars to drive on their own and everything else. John Deere is debuting this incredible new tractor that is going to be able to enhance our agricultural community. It says the world largest farming producer is now unveiling a self-driving tractor to plow specifically in the U.S. as it slowly rolls out. They're going to see if this is going to work to be able to bring it to the mainstream, but specifically plow Americans' acreage by day or night without a driver. As they unveiled this in 2022, they featured this in Las Vegas just recently. John Deere says that this is a huge product for them that's going to enable farmers to plant seeds, spread nutrients, and also harvest their crops without anyone actually having to touch the steering wheel. Obviously, they're diving into the educational advances that had to come with this, our technological advances that had to come with this, and really looking at farming from a 360 perspective to ensure that we're not only supporting our farmers, but getting the best crops available. John Deere has put a lot of money towards ensuring that we have a progressive approach to farming and definitely trying to support our businesses out there, keeping us all healthy and happy and fed. So shout out to John Deere and the incredible technology that we are now seeing kind of like percolate into all these different communities. I love it.
That's amazing. Is it like the first thought I had in my head, I'm like, is it like a Roomba? Like,
right. It kind of looks like I will say it thankfully, sometimes when we go with new technology, it doesn't look like the way we envision it. This looks like a tractor. When you envision a tractor, it really is an attractive looking, piece of equipment. But yeah, it kind of does kind of feel like a Roomba, right?
Yes.
I love it. That's such a funny comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely a cool discussion to have with students, regardless of what grade level you teach. This could just be a fun fact that you're providing. There could be some discussion around the importance of technology or the scary factors of technology. I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion around, people having mixed emotions of self-driving cars. Now we have self-driving farming tools, but lots of good exploration to be had. Technology is moving at such a quick pace. There's definitely a lot to be able to discuss. Very cool.
Yeah.
Marie, before we wrap up, I definitely want to make sure our community is able to stay connected to you. You have so much to be able to share, and we obviously want to ensure that everyone is challenging their thinking in so many different spaces, but especially in how we support students. How can people stay connected to you?
So I'm on Twitter at Hanania. That's HANNAHNIA if you're listening instead of watching later. So I'm on Twitter. I'm on Voxer. I'm on Facebook a lot. It's mostly pictures of kids and food. So just if you'd like to see that in my life, that's the best way. People can always email me as well. My email is marie.mccumber@gmail.com, and people can absolutely drop me an email and connect with me that way as well. I have 2 kids and 2 stepkids, so I'm busy. So just bear with me sometimes. but yeah, I do love to connect with people and grow my network and try to start building more relationships of like reciprocity. I couldn't get that word out.
Maria, I'm so appreciative. Every time we chat, you always have such practical ideas to help us improve. I want to encourage everyone in our Teach Better community to connect with you as we all continue to strive to be better, to reach all of our learners with there's so many different resources that we have. We can be better in this area. And Maria, I really appreciate that you are an advocate and a resource for so many members of our family here to be better at how we think through supporting our students and the technologically advanced skills that we have access to, the products we have access to be able to help our students be more successful. So thank you for all that you do. And I appreciate you waking up bright and early on your spring break to be able to talk shop with us.
You know, you're the only people I'll do that for.
You're just so sweet. I love it. I love it. For everyone here, don't forget, we did just announce 2 more speakers in our Teach Better Conference lineup. That conference is October 14th and 15th. You can see all the different details there, and you can submit your proposal to join our lineup through the end of April over at teachbetterconference.com. If any of you need anything, please feel free to reach out to Marie or anyone else in the Teach Better community to support you. And we are wishing you nothing but the most incredible Tuesday, March 29th as humanly possible. Thank you for all that you do, and we will see you all later this week. And don't forget, if you need anything, to reach out. Have a good day, guys.